Hello, welcome to week 2 of the UNPL season 3. I'm Misery, coach of the Naruhata Hoppers, and today we are facing APERATOS, coach of the Manchesney Park Slowpokes. Now his draft was a really strong Sun-based draft, and this week basic Sun made the most sense to me. So I've made up a team of potential hazard users, a bit of fun with Pikachu as a sweeper under webs, and more importantly, the faster chlorophyll abuser in Shiftry. Now you'll notice that this week we are running no item on Ditto. As like last week, I do enjoy using Ditto in a way that's not just Choice Scarf. And I've got no item because he did potentially have that, bulky Dust Noir with Poltergeist in the back. So I thought I'd bring something to potentially wall him and kind of threaten him back. Anytime I've built a team though, I've built about 3 different versions of this team. Every time I'd committed to lead with Frostlass to taunt the Mew. Now Mew can be anything, it can be a hazard lead, it could be a screen setter, could even be a setup sweeper. So I figured any single time he has Mew in his team, I need to bring Frostlass and lead him. Of course I've got that Focus Sash to guarantee a taunt and at least a spike, or maybe even a Destiny Bond. So yeah, as I said, I'd definitely lead the Frostlass here. Overall, I did really enjoy prepping for this team. Sun has always kind of been my favourite weather archetype, especially now since it's been buffed. Hail, I think, has only just kind of slightly improved over it. But as expected, he does lead Mew. Now I'm sitting there thinking he's going to go for his own hazards because I don't really have much removal. And I go for the taunt because I'm like, I don't want any of that stuff to happen. I don't want him to pivot out into something for free and start setting up.
What's up, boys?
Instant respect from me. That's definitely like an anti-lead Mew. I'm realising that this is a bit low. There we go. I am post-comming this just because, but he does get the crits. Means that he based on what it was doing, it needed the 5 hits to kind of KO. But I'm thinking it might be loaded dice. The crit did kind of guarantee that the 4 would kill, and at this point I should have gone into reality, the Shiftry, because knockoff. But this thing could be packing U-turn. It's definitely faster, I think. And I just kind of want to scout out what it's going to do. But instead of that, I was so kind of caught off guard by the Rug Blast lead Mew that I just completely forgot what had happened. And I thought, oh, let's go for a Sticky Web. And at this point, I think you can see that I'm kind of just realising what I've done. And I'm thinking to myself, do I just let this thing go down? Do I hope that he's kind of slower and I can get the Sticky Web? Or do I go into Vision just to kind of scout what it's going to do? But he's taunted right now, he can't go for any status moves, he can't go for a Dragon Dance or Spike or anything like that, so he just naturally goes for Rock Blast again. And I get so lucky and get the dodge. I mean, at that point, this was kind of over for my Masquerade, but I'm thinking to myself, I could just, either fish for another miss, and maybe go for the Stun Spore or just some damage. Or I could kind of take advantage and switch out into something. Maybe I'm thinking power, just because it kind of resists a couple of natural things. Because it's not likely he's bringing super effective coverage for Lycan Rock, and because I'm Scarf, I can definitely outspeed. But unfortunately, on this one, I'm not packing Crunch. I'm packing the Double Rock move and Iron Head. And at this point, I'm kind of regretting it. I don't want to go hard Shiftry because I know he's going to outspeed me. He doesn't have Sun set up, after all. And I'm really contemplating what to do here because on one hand I've been given the blessing of a miss, but on the other hand, do I want to switch into a Rock Blast? So I'm sitting there thinking, I'll just go for the Sunny Day. He's not going to give it to me so easily. And with Shiftry coming in under Chlorophyll, I can definitely threaten this thing out with a knockoff. But he does unfortunately connect. If he is diced, then he's not worried about that 2-hit. Yeah, for a second I thought it might have been Life Orb, but I missed it. But he's no longer taunted now, he can go for his potential hazards or, a setup move. Normally lead Mews if they're going to be offensive run Dragon Dance, and this thing being a Rock Blast kind of really makes me think it would be. So you'd think at that point I'd go into something else, kind of bait a Dragon Dance and then kind of reverse sweep him. But I don't do that, instead I go straight into it just to scout really what he does have. Does he have U-turn? And he does. You can see there the Dragon Dance as expected. And the Icicle Spear with the loaded dice really does make sense. Especially given the coverage options, you know, I don't really have too many ice switch-ins. But overall, really, really good Pokemon in Mew. At this point, I was hoping to lose the speed type because, again, I'm not Scarf. And if he does go for the U-turn, which makes the most sense, I would get the switch initiative. But all in all, this Mew really messed me up. He took out 2 of my Pokemon with ease. You know, he really got maximum value out of it. It did what it was supposed to do. Actually, the anti-lead Mew actually took out 2 lead Pokemon on my team. That's crazy. I did get a bit of luck. I did get the sticky webs off. But at this point, I don't have too many ways of countering it. Sorry, I could have gone Pikachu, but you know, I don't want to risk an Earth Power. I know that a Grass Knot will do a good chunk of damage, but again, I don't want this thing killing Pikachu. In hindsight, that's kind of what I kind of wish that I'd done that, because you'll see here that I'm Choice Scarf like a rock, and the only way to one-shot this thing is to go for Iron Head, and that's if he even stays in. Now, of course, I don't know if he'd switch because I do have the potential to go for the pretty free drill run, and nothing really wants to take that. So I think here he does stay in just to kind of absorb and scout what I'm going to do. I know that a Play Rough's not got a 2-shot, so there's no point going for that. And again, he's got the Earth Power. But Iron Head does connect, and I do get a KO back on Queen and Diancie. I do love Diancie. It's probably one of my favourite kind of mythical Pokemon. Really good, especially with that Mega. I think Mega Diancie was a menace. But he does the one thing that I really, really didn't want to happen. You see here I'm locked into Iron Head. My Masquerain and my Frostlass were both well equipped to handle this thing, especially if it's not fast or Scarf or anything, because you know Gamora there had the Hurricane to potentially block the spin. But here I think spin's totally free for him, and I kind of need to try to chip this thing down with some Iron Head flinches. I mean, at this point, switching into something else would have mattered because he would have then outspent me anyway. So I'm sitting there thinking, do I wait for him to start getting the close combat or headlong rush defense drops and then take advantage, or do I just, you know, attempt to still be fast in a bulky version and try to flinch it down? But I do decide to switch. At this point, I do go into Vision the Ditto. At this point, I think I didn't mind the defense drops not being in there because that means I didn't have the defense drops. And I did get to eat that hit very nicely. Now, he knows that I'm not a Scarf. He's got a chance of outspeeding this thing. So I'm just going to kind of go for it. I'm going to go for the Headlong Rush, expecting maybe a potential switch. But he does win the speed type and gets the Ice Spinner off. Obviously, Ice Spinner wouldn't have killed him, but the Headlong Rush would have done a good amount of chip to him, especially at -1. So that is unfortunate, we did miss out on that. And again, I don't think anything outspeeds, unless he is, of course, a bulky version. A +1 definitely wouldn't outspeed this. Actually, I think even faster +1 wouldn't outspeed. So I've got all the power in the world to click Play Rough here, and it's very obvious, but at the same time, I can't really afford to make a play. If I can't get this thing taken down, then it's already boosted, it's already going to run laps around my team. So I think that at this point it's my only play. And part of me is really thinking about going for the Iron Head flinches. But I just know that not making the play would be unfortunate. If I Iron Head into, let's say, 9 stars, it wouldn't really do too much anyway. So I think I'm going to go hard Pikachu here. Just because I think I calced it even. I don't think a Play Rough at -1 did kill a defensive version. So I had to kind of bait in that second defense drop. Yeah, so unfortunately Pikachu didn't do anything in this game. It was a handy sack for a stat drop, but him being able to get that rapid spin positioning was just unbelievable for him. In hindsight, I kind of wish I'd just gone straight into Pikachu and kind of fished for the static. But, you know, you live and you learn. You can always learn a lot from watching your Pokemon battles back. So even if you're a Showdown player, just occasionally save some replays and kind of see your game state at the time. But yeah, here I'm forced to go for play rough. He knows that if I'm Scarf, I do it at speed, obviously. And I'm going to be able to just destroy him. So it does make sense for him to switch. He definitely didn't really lose anything from doing it either. I think I had the least to gain from a play. But that said, if I was expecting the potential switch, then I should have gone for maybe Rock Blast anyway. Or the Iron Head, rather. But still, being locked into Iron Head wouldn't have done too much in here. So I'm thinking I'm just going to go for some chip on this thing. I think he's maybe going to take me out with a Solar Beam. But he does, unfortunately, go for the Will-O-Wisp. And what this means is, because he knows that I'm Scarfed as well, he knows that he can switch into something to absorb the play rough. Or he could just kind of start setting up nasty plots on his own and just kind of going for it. But I think here I'd contemplate to switch against a Shiftry just in case he made a different play or maybe went for a setup, but I just couldn't really risk the Flamethrower. Because at this point he just sacks Ninetales, right? Just because of what he has in the bag for Shiftry. He's got enough turns to switch around. I think the safest thing for him to do would just be staying with Ninetales and Flamethrower. But I'm thinking at this point, my head's not quite as in the game at this point. Oh, but I do risk the hard swap. I think maybe I'm definitely expecting him to switch. But I think his play was probably just to sack this thing and keep clicking Flamethrower. Just because he didn't really need Shiftry anymore. Especially since a Scarf like a Rock always outspeeds Victory Belt in the sun. That's why I've gone for Scarf. It even outspeeds Walking Wake with with the speed boosting photosynthesis. I think at this point I'm just going to go back into power, because while I did pick Shiftry to outspeed Victory Bell and Sun, I also forgot to actually prep specific moves for Victory Bell, especially given that it was going to be Terra Fire, is what I predicted. I think we find out here what Terra he actually is. I think I had the options between Poison, Fairy and Fire. And I think Fairy and Fire are both pretty good, but I really expected Fire. He does go for the Fairy. The Fairy does make a lot of sense. Definitely cannot fault him for that. I think that gives him a better Terra Blast for things like Shiftry outside the sun. And I do tank that as well, which is really nice. And because I am Scarf, as stated before, I definitely outspeed this thing. I could just go straight for the Iron Head. I'm not going to kill it because I am burnt, unfortunately. I mean, if I'm him, he could totally switch out. He knows that I'm packing Iron Head. He knows that I'm Scarf. I think definitely keeping this thing healthy, just for that Shiftry, just in case, I think is probably his best play. So I'm really contemplating, like, do I go for the Rock Blast just to have maximum damage on anything, or do I kind of just go for the chip on this? But he does stay in, and he does take me out with the Terra Blast, which was kind of expected, but he definitely could have kept value in this at the end as well. So let's see, what do I go into here? No, I go into Shiftry, of course. Again, I'm not packing anything like Sludge Bomb or... Wait, do I get Sludge Bomb? But yeah, I forgot to pack anything for Victory Bell specifically. I didn't even cater to any of the Terrors either. So my strongest move here is the Grass Knot. I'm a special variant of Shiftry just because I think it made a lot of sense. I think even Solar Blade was only doing about 45 to Walking Wake, whereas this, I think, two-shot it after a spike, which is kind of really why I wanted to go for the spike in the first place. Unfortunately, I didn't get it off, but at this stage of the game, it seems that Tusk would always get the spin-off. But yeah, here I go for the Grass Knot. I didn't actually think it was going to take it out, to be honest. I didn't think Victory Bell was that heavy, but obviously losing the resistance is... I suppose I was just strong enough. He knows that I'm lifeable at this point. It's not like it's a surprise. I don't think he's got any reason ever to go into Ninetales here, because if he did, obviously I've got potential to kind of start running off with it. That said, Grass Knot's never a one-shot on this thing, but I do believe it is two-shot. And he is the speed boost nature. Not that it matters, because I think even Modest outside of Sun would have outsped. But I'm just going to go for... Well, I'm contemplating going for Vacuum Wave just to show it off, but at the same time, I don't know. I think not too many people know about the Vacuum Wave on the Shiftry. I really hope I just catch a certain summon off guard. But yeah, I'm not locked in or anything, so I'm just, I think, calcing, maybe waffling, knowing that the end is nigh. I'm going for the grass knot just in case he decides to go for a Drake or a miss or something. But yeah, he manages to finish the game with a walking wake. Almost a mascot of the team. But yeah, while I did prep and calc really nicely for this, I did kind of, outplay myself by not keeping myself in a good enough position to stop the tusks from spinning. I think that really was the beginning of the downfall. Well, not just that, to be fair. I think his lead move really threw me off. His lead move was really good. Loaded dice, icicle spear, rock blast. Phenomenal anti-lead. I dealt with Frostlass and Masquerone really, really adeptly. I kind of wish that he didn't try to go for something else first, so I could get a taunt and spike. But really, really with Mew, it just goes to show to expect the unexpected. No one Mew is going to be the same as the other. So kudos to APERATOS for that. A really good Sun Tune. You should definitely check out his video. See ya.